So you want to hash things out from book 2. You have thoughts and opinions on something that happened in book 2.
I have a theory that I don't know if it's true or not. But I was wondering if the journal is a Horcrux. And
why would you say that?
Because it has Voldemort in it. And then it just feels right to me that like he destroyed the Horcrux, and then like the Horcrux is only destroyed by like the dark power of the basilisk anyway. You know? Why are you laughing at me?
I just like how you worded that.
What? But I don't know. It just made sense to me. I was like, maybe you need like darkness to destroy darkness. And then
it's like the ring.
Maybe he gets to like the end book and Dumbledore's like, oh, well, you actually already killed one of the Horcruxes. And then he's just like, great, like one down, however many more to go. But
do you want me to confirm or deny it for you?
I don't know. Is that like totally wrong?
No, it's an interesting theory. It's very interesting.
Okay, keep going.
You are crazy, Wes. So it does have a lot of dark qualities to it. Do you remember how you kill a Horcrux?
Stab it with the tooth. I don't know. No, I don't remember. I think it's like... No, I don't.
I don't know if I want to spoil any of this stuff for you.
Well, you don't just say it's not a Horcrux then, because I feel like you're getting at that.
It is a Horcrux.
It is a Horcrux?
Yeah.
Let's go. All right.
So you crushed the game on that one. Well done.
Because my other thought was that I was saying something about it, and I was like, I think what's throwing us off, and I used us, and then I was like, there's no way that Jon is confused about anything right now. He's literally just lying through his teeth
about
right now about this whole thing. I was like, we were just discussing whether or not it was like actually Voldemort's soul or Tom Riddle's soul, but you didn't give me anything really that was like proving it was a Horcrux. It just kind of dawned on me randomly. I was like, he's probably going to get to the end and be like, okay, you already did one, which is great. But then I was like, maybe there's one in every book if there's 7. And I couldn't really figure out if there was anything that happened in one that would be a Horcrux. Because I don't remember him like destroying anything.
What about the Sorcerer's Stone? Do you think the Sorcerer's Stone could be a Horcrux? Or the Philosopher's Stone, as the Brits know it by?
I don't know.
Because it was destroyed, but...
But I don't think Voldemort ever got his hands on it. That was the whole thing. You know? Because if he had it, he would be living forever. But he doesn't have it. Oh, well... No.
So, I was corrected on this a few months ago. Because it is a little bit tricky to understand. And we'll talk about this kind of conversation more in like the 6th book, which is really Horcrux centered.
Yeah, because it hasn't even entered.
Yeah.
This is all like random memories.
But how do you think Horcruxes work? Maybe that's my question.
They preserve Voldemort's life.
Yes. So...
Doesn't he have to do some big like ritual thing? And then like a little boop, there goes my soul. Like
exactly. That's actually what they do. They say boop in the books.
That's
and then
the spell.
He's back. That's the spell. The spell is boop. You have to say it in that exact tone.
Yeah, I thought there was like some big ritual and then his soul like went into it, and that's why he's in such a fragile state, is because he's like a 7th of a person. You know? And then I thought, because I'm still like, we haven't revisited Horcruxes yet on my reread.
Yeah.
So I was like, is Voldemort ever trying to like gather up his Horcruxes and like put the puzzle pieces back together and then be a whole person?
Yeah. There's difficult Horcrux discussion is difficult because some of the language that she used, you have to use some of the language that she used. But the idea of splitting your soul is a bit more metaphorical than it is Actually, it's not. But he is in a full body. He is whole in his body, but he's not exactly whole in his soul. There you go.
Poetry.
I know. There you go. So it's like he is still a complete entity, but he's not at the same time.
I thought he wasn't whole in body.
Well, when he's kind of floating around, he's not, because he's a soul floating around. Like his soul. So this is the word that we use when we describe Horcruxes, is that they tether your soul to Earth.
Tether. Okay.
So essentially what is happening is when he dies, when his body is slain, like it was when he tried to kill Harry's parents, he cannot escape this Earth because Horcruxes are keeping him bound to this Earth.
Wait, but like he didn't die when he killed Harry's parents.
He did.
How
But
did
he didn't, because he
but
had
like
Horcruxes.
he ran away. Oh, so he had made the Horcruxes already?
Yeah. So that was like, yeah. So he didn't necessarily die, but he became like super weak. He was like in a weak form. And so even between book 1 and book 2, so like when he kind of rises back to power and is like a parasite on the back of Quirrell's head.
So crazy.
Yeah, I know. That's like his form. He's still tethered to the earth. So Horcruxes just tether your soul to Earth, but there's other magical ways that you can regain a body. So like as long as those Horcruxes are here on Earth, he would forever have the chance to come back if some dark wizard wanted to like bring him back.
Can he just go to like a body that's been kissed by a Dementor and like inhabit the husk?
That's actually fascinating.
Because that's literally an empty shell and he's just a soul.
It's a perfect world.
And he should be able to convince the Dementor pretty easily to go kiss somebody and then just be like, thanks.
I'll take
it's
your
like
body,
a
please.
Crustacean in a new shell, you know?
But then he'd be super depressed when he entered that. He would have to defeat depression before he defeated Harry Potter. That would be his first battle.
No, I feel like he's so dark that he would be unaffected.
Yeah. That's actually a great question.
Because Sirius was just so convinced that he was innocent that he was like basically unaffected.
Yeah.
So if you're the Dark Lord, I don't know how much.
Know. That's a great question. How much would he be affected if he came into Azkaban and was like tortured in Azkaban? Fantastic question. I don't have the answer for you. I don't know the many ways in which you can actually come back. In the book, we see a few different ways of how you can come back. But the 4th book gives like the most concrete way that you can come back that we've ever gotten in the books. So you're going to see that in a few weeks or days or however long it takes you to read that. Yeah. Of like how he actually comes back. It's really fascinating, but we don't have a ton. But those are all just ways that you can come back. It's not like you have to put a Horcrux in like a potion, and the Horcrux, then you rise from the Horcrux. But there is a lot of confusion on that, because the diary seemed like it was exactly that. Like you use the diary to regain a body. So diary was a little weird. So
yeah, and it's weird how the diary is the actual Horcrux if he was kind of just like using that as a stepping stone to get a body.
Yeah, for sure.
But wait, so is this the Sorcerer's Stone isn't one? Okay. Yeah. And then I was listening to just the first chapter of 4 on the podcast today. And you asked the first time readers, you asked them, how do you think Voldemort keeps staying alive? So then I was like, maybe he hasn't made all the Horcruxes yet, and maybe he like keeps dividing, but I don't know. I'm just in a weird space of like what I have read, what I haven't read.
Like the neurons are firing, but you don't know where they lead yet.
They're just going and not landing anywhere.
You're like, Horcruxes, crap, where are they going? I don't remember that.
Exactly.
And remember, the questions that I'm asking them are stuff that you don't know yet. So I asked the first timers, how do you think Voldemort is staying alive? So they take guesses about Horcruxes. Like, because
they're so on it though. Like some of the stuff they say is crazy.
Yeah. You should. Yeah. The last podcast that we recorded was one of the greatest prediction podcasts I've ever done with them. It was just a live read, and Danny and Jen were just firing literal perfect answers for like half the things.
That's awesome.
They missed a few, but it was so good. It was so fascinating. But remember, I'm like asking them the questions to try to lead them to Horcruxes, but they don't know Horcruxes existed at the point that you're listening to in book 4.
Yeah.
So, different questions.
Anyway, that was the housekeeping we needed to get out of the way.
Yeah. Any other housekeeping?
No, it's clean.
We gotta find another good little debate that we can have tonight. We'll come up with something.
Oh, the other housekeeping is, I do actually want to say this, is that I feel like I've been carrying this banner in front of me that I'm like, I don't believe anything, and I am like a doubter, and I just before that comes to bite me, I'm gonna just say I'm not that person, because something is gonna totally screw me over in the next like however many books there are. And I don't want to I just want to clear my name before I say that. But I do still stand by all of my opposing beliefs.
No, your opposing beliefs are great, because your opposing beliefs are, to be honest, like really, okay. Some of the Harry Potter stuff is so fascinating to me because there isn't complete conclusion on things yet about like what these things are. So you're bringing up points that are heavily debated in the Harry Potter world. Mm-hmm. It's not that there's like a clear answer for these questions.
But I just don't want to I just want to say I'm not doubting everything.
So,
because I'm going to get like rickrolled by something.
No, you won't. I guarantee you won't get. So you might get rickrolled by someone who knows Harry Potter a lot more than you. But I know Harry Potter, but I don't know it like some people who are in our community know it. Like some people know this, and it's like next level how they know some of this stuff. But there's one thing that you got to keep in mind is there are people there. We're not like competing with this podcast, because this podcast is already done. But there was another podcast that was done called Potterless. Mm-hmm. And most people who listen to our podcast don't like Potterless that much, because they treated Harry Potter really flippantly. And they were like, oh, this is such a joke. And they were poking fun at it all the time. And we just got a comment on Reddit of saying, I tried Potterless and it was just too like boring. They were just like, making fun of the whole book. And they were like, I finally came to this podcast, and even just from the premise alone, this is like exactly what I want. Mm-hmm. It's like people who they might have differing opinions about Harry Potter, but they're debating and they're talking about things and like
Harry Potter's real, man.
A legitimate way.
It's somewhere.
Yeah.
Danny's gonna find it, and we're all gonna go there.
That's why
I'm in the universe.
Yeah,
I'm immersed.
You can debate this as much as you want. No one in our community will get mad at you. Unless you bring up something like terrible or stupid, but people will just debate, and that's what the fun part is in our community. It's like as long as you treat the book seriously, and like obviously we're having fun. If you treat the book seriously and have respect for it, doesn't matter what opinion you have. If you can back it up, people will respect you. But if you come into the group and they're like, "This is ridiculous. This is like these things are so stupid. There's so many plot holes," then you won't get respected. Like I remember one time, this was like one of my favorite Reddit posts I've ever made. I remember seeing something in the books. I forgot exactly what it was. But I posted something in like the Harry Potter Reddit, and I was like, hey, what do you guys think about this? This is really fascinating. I never thought about this before. Like, what do you think about the books aspect here? And then a few people commented, they're giving their theories and stuff like that. And then one person commented and they said, like, I think you're just treating a child's text as like too serious. I think like this is just, fun. Like you shouldn't really treat this that seriously. And then someone commented to this person and they said, honey, you are in the wrong place if you believe that. And I was like, yes, let's go.
That's great.
So most people who love these books, they give it respect and they actually treat it with respect and they debate it with respect. And if you have a different opinion, it's okay. That's why this is a cool community. It's different from like Star Wars. Star Wars community is very divisive. I feel like the Harry Potter community can be a little divisive, but it's a lot less divisive than like Star Wars. So you're good. As long as you're debating stuff and you seem like you enjoy this, then we're good.
Okay.
Let's see what the comments say.
How many? Who's here?
We got 6 people here. Indela, Jables, Nemo, Ryan, who just became a member. Let's go, Ryan.
What's up?
Yeah, someone said, yeah, that's a great point. Someone said, if you finish the 7th book and you come in saying Harry was revived by the resurrection stone, you might get mocked. There's some painfully obvious ones you might get mocked for, but for most of them, you won't.
Okay.
All right.
We'll see when we get there.
Okay. You want to jump into, what are we on? Book 3? The second part of book 3, chapter 9, I think. Welcome to the podcast. I'm John.
And I'm Lizzie.
And this is Harry Potter and the Second Time Reader. All right. We are probably going to do 5 chapters for this one because it is very Quidditch centric. And I love Quidditch with everything in me.
Mm-hmm.
But some people don't, which is a bummer. Chapter 9 is Grim Defeat. Do you remember what this chapter is about?
No, give me a summary. I'm just gonna give up right away.
It was, Gryffindor was defeated in Quidditch. Do you know by which team?
Slytherin.
Nope, the greatest house to exist.
Hufflepuff.
The Puffs, baby, Hufflepuffs. But they were defeated in a slightly annoying way. They were defeated because Harry was going after the snitch, and then all these Dementors started swarming, and then he fell off his broom. His broom ended up going into the Whomping Willow and destroyed his Nimbus 2000. And Cedric Diggory caught the snitch, but then as soon as he realized Harry was like incapacitated, he was like, "Oh no, like we need to change it. I shouldn't have caught the snitch. Yada yada yada, that kind of stuff."
Yeah, because he's very fair.
Yeah.
But
Such a good guy.
Game's game.
I know. Game.
You know what I'm mad about is that Sirius should have rescued the broom from the tree. Like, he literally was at the game, probably. I forget if he was at this game. But the thing blew into the tree. Like, he could have just pushed the button, got the Nimbus, Harry's day is rescued. Or he let it smash on purpose and then he bought a new one.
How would he get it?
What do you mean?
A willow tree is a huge tree. A Whomping Willow is probably even bigger.
No, but Sirius just can push the button.
That's actually a great point.
Like, he's definitely in the tree. Like, just come out, paw that thing, grab the broom. That made me really mad when I realized that he could have saved it.
Maybe he's not fast enough. We'll just give him the benefit of the doubt there. Like, what about this thing? It's like floating through midair, and then he can't like catch it. Maybe he just isn't a very good tree climber, and it just blows all of a sudden and goes into this thing. Maybe, okay, here's new headcanon for me. Because do you know who gives him the firebolt?
Serious?
Yeah. So maybe he saw it blow in, and he tried to save it, but couldn't and felt really bad. So that's why he bought Harry the firebolt.
Like, he really desperately tried.
Yeah.
Why would a tree like destroy something that's made out of sticks anyways? Like, wouldn't it not recognize that?
Stick recognize.
Yeah.
Stick recognizes stick.
Yeah. The first time I read this book, I read like the last page first, which was really dumb.
Why?
Because then I realized that Sirius was good. And then I think that's why I love Sirius so much, is because I had like no doubt from the beginning.
Oh yeah.
So everything could just be like.
So you like saw what he was doing.
Yeah, because I knew that he gave him the firebolt, so I was like, obviously he's trustworthy.
It's kind of lovely. I actually kind of like that.
But I stopped doing that.
Yeah, it's not good to do that. Read the last few pages first.
Wait, did he do his Patronus for these Dementors? He just died.
Do you know why? Yeah, because he didn't do his Patronus yet because he doesn't know how to do a Patronus. So this was like one of the first ones where, and we'll talk about the Patronus chapter in these because this is kind of when the Patronus, he learns the Patronus in chapter 13, I think, or 12 or 13. But he wasn't able to do it. So that's why he like wants to stay on a broom. He wants to be able to, still fight against Dementors, but he doesn't know how yet. But all these chapters are super Quidditch centric. And we talked about Quidditch before in the first podcast, but
I still like it.
I know it's still great. It's still a great game.
It's good.
I remember for a long time, the third book was my favorite book because there was so much Quidditch in it.
Mm.
And I couldn't wait to get to those chapters. And I remember the fourth book when they had the Triwizard Tournament, and when they were like announcing that they're not gonna have Quidditch that season, I was so bummed. I was like, no, I don't care where this book is going. I'm so mad that they don't have Quidditch.
You get the whole world tournament thing in that book, though.
I know, it's true. So you get a little bit of it, but you don't get enough.
I liked how they were talking about having to play Hufflepuff, and they were like, oh, we better like change strategies, because like I didn't even think about the teams having their own culture and like their own strategies and stuff.
Yeah, what would a strategy? This is an interesting question. Do you know what Moneyball is?
No.
Okay.
It sounds familiar.
It's a movie about a baseball strategy where you essentially buy wins rather than, or no, you're like buying, it's like number crunching. So you're playing sports by numbers rather than players.
Like by their stats?
Yeah. So it's really fascinating. It was one of my favorite movies ever. I love the movie so much. So rather than look at like players and like, you know, everyone talks about like the like the hidden things that like sports players have, that like the intangibles that like this player can do this player can do this. These Moneyball people wouldn't look at any of that. They would just look at the stats, and they would just look at how many like runs they needed in order to get this many wins that season, and they would only do it that way. And this one guy revolutionized this and then brought it to Boston, which Boston won the World Series with. But some people talk about how you would Moneyball Quidditch, which is really fascinating, like different strategies that you'd use.
That's so interesting, because I feel like the personality plays a lot into it, though, because like you'd be intimidated by a certain player but not another one.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I guess their stats would kind of match up with their reputation.
Yeah.
But like if you see Harry Potter, I feel like you're gonna know he's the best flyer at the
for
school.
sure. But there's a strategy that I would implement for Quidditch for a different team. If you had another really good seeker on a Quidditch team and we were playing against that team, you couldn't do two seekers. You can't legally in Quidditch make two seekers. But I would have one person flying around looking for the snitch along with my other seeker. And then as soon as they had it, they had like a sign that designated, here's the snitch, come find it. And the other person's job is to then block the other seeker who's coming. So it's like you're really banking everything on the snitch rather than like the actual game. So you have to find the snitch real quick. And if you don't, you're going to lose. But it's like rapid fire Quidditch.
How much is a normal goal? Like
10
how many
points.
You don't even have to find the snitch fast then.
But you kind of do. I mean, you don't. It's like, I guess it's like a 15-minute game. I think if you're playing a player down, I feel like another team can score 150 points in like 15 minutes.
But if you had a really good beater, like I feel like you could just have one of the Weasleys.
Yeah, seriously.
Just cranking it out.
I know. A good beater makes all the difference for sure.
Yeah. I like that technique. I could see that working.
Yeah. I like that they do change their technique per who they're fighting against, though, or who they're flying against. That's a cool strategy. Mm-hmm. Harry does have the Dementor attack here, but I want to talk about the Dementor in the Dementor chapter, in the Patronus chapter. Mm-hmm. So the next chapter is the Marauders map. This is chapter 10.
We're done? That was it?
Well, what else do you have in that one? Do you have anything else?
Well, that's when Snape takes over Lupin's class.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's important.
Yeah.
And they have the giant sleepover in the Great Hall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems really fun.
Yeah, that does really seem really fun. No
I
joke.
saw that and I was like, all right, sign me up.
Everyone chilling there together.
Yeah. But what if like I was thinking about Snape teaching the class and he was like, nobody knows anything in this class. Like, you guys are idiots. He didn't teach you anything. Do you think could be right that like they should be way more?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
I feel like they're kind of scared of Defense Against the Dark Arts. And I think Snape is just kind of like towing the line of like he likes it. But I also think he's a double agent. I feel like I remember him like being a double agent or something, but I don't know. It's like so foggy. But I think he's probably just like more interested in it in a way that like other people are scared of it, but he'll toe the line. And then I think he's probably right that they should know a lot more about it. Because they're not teaching them to be bad wizards. Like they're just teaching them to defend against the dark arts. And half the stuff they're doing is like random creatures.
Yeah, that's kind of true. But then again, you're fighting these creatures in real life. Like in the fourth book, Harry encounters these creatures all over the place. So each defense
Prepared.
against the dark arts, like I think each year you learn something different. I think in the third year they're probably just learning about beasts and how to defend themselves against beasts. The fourth year they learn the unforgivable curses. So it's like more wizard stuff. And then it's like curses and spells later on. I feel like every year progresses to something not more important, but like another dimension of wizardry and defense against the dark arts that you need to know.
But you think they should be like way more progressed with this?
Yeah,
Like
they're
Snape
going
said?
at a somewhat slow pace. I love Lupin's teaching style with everything in me,
Yeah, me
but
too.
I do think he needs to go a little quicker for some of this stuff. But I'm not like Snape. I don't think Snape would be a good teacher for Defense Against the Dark Arts because he might just go too quick before like students have really let it set, I guess.
Why does he want it so badly? Like, this is killing me. I don't remember. I feel like he was a Death Eater, but I can't remember for the life of me.
He was a Death Eater.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I feel like Snape was a Death Eater. He came back. I think he's just super weak. Like a weak man. But Dumbledore probably gave him a second chance.
Okay.
And then I don't think he would go back to Voldemort because he's all weak. And
So he's not like, the bravest person you ever met.
yeah, for sure. But I think he probably did his time as a Death Eater. And I think maybe he's in Hogwarts kind of as like safety with Dumbledore. But I don't know.
He's an intriguing character. We will talk about him a lot.
Like if I ran into him in the other alley, what's like sideways?
Nocturne alley?
Nocturnally, yeah. If I ran into him in Nocturne Alley, I'd be like, okay, makes sense. Like I wouldn't be caught off guard that he's there. But at the same time, I don't know if he's actually up to anything. I feel like he could just be a weirdo who likes the dark stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, what's wrong with being a weirdo who likes dark stuff?
And he's really mean. But like that's kind of not, to me, involved in anything. I think he's just like a mean person.
Okay.
And I also think he was... See, I have all these theories. I think he also... I feel like I remember him being in love with Harry Potter's mom.
Whoa.
Was that a thing?
That's quite the scandal.
I feel like I remember there being some love triangle. And I was like, maybe that's what was happening, was like he wanted Harry Potter's mom, but then James got her, and then he was like not part of the club of the Marauders.
And he was just mad, so
Yeah.
he's taking it out on Harry.
Yeah.
Whatever he's doing, he's wrong for taking this out on children. He's grumpy, and he's like taking out his anger on little kids, which is just not the coolest thing to do.
No, but I think it's pretty normal. Like there's a lot of people in the world
Yeah.
that are like that.
100%.
So
There's a lot of people who are, aren't great.
rude.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was all I have to say.
Great. Next chapter is the Marauders map. Do you remember this chapter?
Yes, I love this chapter. This is like one of those things where I read this chapter and it makes me so excited, and I love Harry Potter, and I'm just like, this is so great. And I just get giddy.
It
It's
is
like,
so good, yeah.
even when I hear the little like tune at the beginning of the podcast, because I have no like movie excitement,
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, this is so great. That's like, this chapter does that for me. And then I
Yes.
solemnly swear that I'm up to no good.
Yes,
like,
it's so good.
I
I
love that.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't really know how to summarize it. They find Fred and George give Harry the Marauders map, which they found in Filch's office when they were in trouble, and then he gets to go to Diagon Alley. Or no, he gets to go to Hogsmeade.
Not the Diagon Alley.
Like, there's like two places. Can't remember them. He gets to go to Hogsmeade, and is this when he like appears in like as a head to Malfoy?
I don't think so.
Okay. Oh, this is when
This is when he overhears a whole conversation happening.
Yeah.
So he goes and there's a few people talking loudly in the bar, and they're talking about like who Sirius is, that he's the godfather of Harry, and what he did, how he betrayed the parents, and this infuriates Harry.
As it should.
Yeah, for sure. But you know the end of the story, so you know Sirius is great, so it's all right. Everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that the whole like Ministry of Magic is against him is still scary.
Yeah.
Like he could just die at any time.
Sirius could?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no one would care. They'd be like, that's good. The Ministry finally did something.
But he's got one of the best protections that there is, which is being an unregistered animagus. Did you get to the part of season 1 where I talked about how you become an animagus?
Yes.
Isn't that insane?
Oh my gosh. I was like, that's so dark.
I know.
Like, why did we accept this as okay?
I know.
Like,
they have to like wait for full moons.
Chew
going
on a leaf.
In a thunderstorm, you have to like touch your heart and say "anime, animo, animato" or something like that. And it's like,
yeah,
that's like some serious witchcraft. That actually terrifies me.
Imagine how goofy McGonagall looks doing that, and then she's like, "Yes, I can be a cat now." Like, I don't understand.
And what if you do that and you're the animal that reveals to you is like something stupid? Like you're like in the middle of the forest and all of a sudden it's like you're gonna be a killer whale. And you become a killer whale and you're like can transform there and you're like, what the heck is this?
That's so true. And then it wouldn't be helpful at all.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Oh my
You did all that work for nothing.
Is that really how it works? Like it just pulls out of thin air some animal?
No, it doesn't pull out of thin air. It like takes obviously you into account, but it's not like your spirit animal. It's not like what animal you want to become. I think it does take that into account a little bit, because like you'll find out some other characters later. Like McGonagall probably wanted to be a cat, and like even the each of the things, the animals that the Marauders chose, seem to fit what they need. So there definitely is probably some carryover with like it can be what you want it to.
Because that felt too perfect. That they were like the perfect size to control.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. A dog is pretty cool. Cat's good.
Yeah.
Whale, no. Anything flying, I think, would be really helpful.
Oh, 100%. That'd be so great.
Could you become like a griffin, or do you have to be a human kind of animal?
No, I think you can become a magical animal. Or at least your Patronus, which we'll talk about later. Your Patronus can be a magical animal. I'm sure your Animagus form could be something magical too. But I don't know if anybody who's their Animagus is magical. And there's not a ton of registered Animagi. I'm gonna look it up.
Is Dumbledore not Animagus? I'm not gonna say it right. I'm giving up. I'm just gonna say it how I read it. Animagus.
We don't know of too many registered ones. We know.
How many did Hermione say there were? 7?
7, I believe.
Is that like a magic number? 7.
I never caught that. Maybe it might be
7 Horcruxes.
7 is kind of the magical number. Post-registration system. Okay, let's see what some of these people are. So Patricia McManners is unregistered and she's a calico cat. Minerva McGonagall is a silver tabby cat, but she's registered.
She's silver?
Silver tabby cat.
What? Is she silver in the movie?
Yeah, I think so. Silver-ish.
I totally picture her as a black cat.
Some of these people, oh my gosh, poor guy. Ambrose Turner, his Animagus is a butterfly.
That's a good one. That's awesome.
Bly, guy named Bly is a lemur. Adrian Tutley is a gerbil. Oliver Kicker is a frog.
A frog.
Man. Ooh, Tabit Winger is an eagle. I think these are video game characters or something like that.
Yeah, imagine you just become a frog and you're like 10 times slower than you are as a human. Dang, I spent all this time just to not be as good as I was.
The school in Africa, Ouagadougou, specializes in like human transfiguration. They're really good at it. So a lot of wizards at Wagadoo can transform into an animal.
Wagadoo.
Wagadoo. It's a cool name for a school.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if we know of too many. What do you think of the Marauders map?
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
So cool.
A little creepy, but it's pretty cool.
Why is it creepy?
Because you can just spy on anyone that you want at the castle.
I don't understand how they made that.
Yeah, that's beyond me. That's
because
crazy.
like they made it in the past, but it's present. It's like present omniscient, which is like super crazy magic.
Yeah. I don't know how they made it, but it shows how capable they are at magic. They're incredible.
Yeah.
Because I don't know too many people like who do you think that anybody in the books right now could create something like that?
Maybe Hermione.
Yeah, she might be the only one.
But yeah, that's my only guess.
Yeah.
Because nobody else seems like an outstanding wizard.
Yeah.
Or witch.
I wonder how they went about creating that though. That is so fascinating to me. I don't know how they did that.
Because it's like, yeah, I don't get how it's omniscient, but it's like made in the past. And then it's also changing everything. And it's like, this is the thing that you need to say. And it shows up in a speech bubble. Like,
yeah,
it also thinks for itself in a little way.
Yep.
So
I wonder if
I don't know.
Man, I actually have. Is there anything? Anybody know? Has there been anything written on this? The reigning theory is that it's linked to the Book of Admittance and the Quill of Acceptance. Like, I'm curious. June goes, what if Trevor was actually an animagus? Trevor is Neville's toad.
Oh my gosh.
The stream setting is poor right now. Bummer.
That I kind of thought that Peter Pettigrew was like Neville's dad for a while.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
But
that'd be rough.
I don't think he is.
No, he's definitely not. I'm curious if the Marauders map was created in some way. You probably don't know this room exists either. Do you remember the Room of Requirement?
I have heard of it.
We'll talk about that in the
Is that
book.
the one that's like full of everything and they have to like search through it?
Kinda, yeah.
Isn't there like a
Kinda,
battle
sorta.
in there? Everything is so vague.
I know. We'll get there. We'll get there when we get
This
there.
is excruciating.
This is great for me. I love that it's excruciating for you.
Sure. Why is it like what even?
It's just fun that someone kind of forgot some of it and like you're reliving it, but you're like, again, I can see the neurons firing in your brain, but they're not landing anywhere. They're like fireworks. They're like,
yeah.
And then they just don't go anywhere. But it's great. I love it so much. I love vicariously living through other people who are experiencing this again.
Great. I'm glad. No, I'm having a lot of fun. I am glad. But what were you going to say about this Room of Requirement?
Maybe they used the Room of Requirement for the Marauders map in some way. But I can't really go into deep theories on that because you don't really know what the Room of Requirement is. So we'll talk about that.
Wait, do you like walk in and it like gives you what you need or something?
Yeah, it gives you what you require, but it gives you essentially a room. So if you need a bathroom really bad and you walk by it 3 times, it'll give you a bathroom.
That's pretty clutch.
I know, right?
Could use that.
Yeah. And yeah, it just gives the seeker whatever the seeker needs, has a need for. We'll talk about that more in the 5th one. But yeah, how the Marauders map is made is actually a really fascinating one. And I don't really know.
Well, weren't like Lupin and James Potter like really good for their time?
Yeah, but they weren't exceptional. They weren't like out of this world good. I think they were good, but I think Hermione was better than them.
Out of this world.
What?
Out of this world? That's such like a great. Okay, sorry.
I don't know. I get the feeling that they were very skilled and accomplished, but they were way too cocky. Like they thought they were better than they actually were. Like I think there are wizards out there, even during their time, that were better than them. Like Snape, for example, I think is a better wizard, more skillful wizard than any of the Marauders. That might be really controversial to say.
Like the Marauders when they're young, or the Marauders like as all of them as
Both.
adults.
The Marauders when they were young, and the Marauders even as adults.
Like Snape is not getting the recognition
Yeah.
because he's a
Snape
jerk.
Snape is an absolute jerk. Not a ton of people really, really like Snape. I think Snape is a much more complicated character than we make him out to be. But he's not nice. He's not a good human being. But he's a very, very skilled wizard. A low-key skilled wizard, too. So, like, James and Sirius, they're skilled, but they're gallivanting their skill throughout the streets, and they're like, we're the best wizards ever. You know, like, they're typical high school kids. It's just so annoying. Snape, on the other hand, is chilling in his little dungeon, actually being a great wizard, and no one really knows about it. Which, to me, I think he's more skilled than them.
But in a way, he is getting recognition because he's teaching at one of the greatest wizarding schools ever.
Yes.
James is dead. Lupin's a werewolf.
Yeah.
And Pettigrew is like basically as good as dead because he's serving the Dark Lord.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Did I miss someone?
No, you got the 4.
That was 4?
Yeah.
No. Wait.
Wormtail, Lupin's teaching. Sirius is in prison.
Oh, I didn't mention Sirius.
And
though.
James is kaput. Not you, Siri.
So
but yeah,
they're
I think he's good.
animaguses. And that's pretty great. And Snape's not.
Yeah, that's very true. So they have that. They did that out of loyalty, I think, though, rather than, I mean, it takes a great amount of skill, but it just takes patience, really, to be an animagus.
A lot more than patience.
I know, it does take a lot more than patience, but you have to put some kind of leaf under your tongue and keep it under your tongue for a month.
Okay. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if I could do that for like an hour.
And they did it all under Dumbledore's nose. So
Yes,
they were
which is-
acting 100% normally.
That's a great point. Yeah, that's a great point.
How do we know Snape didn't desperately try and Snape failed?
You're coming up with some great
How do we know
zingers right
Snape's
now.
not an animagus? Magus. Magus.
Animagus. You can say however you want.
I don't because he could be just unregistered,
Yeah.
walking around doing double agent stuff.
What do you think he would be if he was an unregistered animagus? What animal?
What's a greasy
A
animal?
snail?
Ooh,
Imagine.
a snail. A slug.
Yeah, a good like slug. Yeah.
Yeah, something gross and like you don't want to touch it.
A bat.
Yes, I hate bats.
Yeah, me too.
So gross.
They are gross.
Yeah,
So-
that's kind of dark.
Yeah. I think you do bring up a good point. I think the Marauders are unbelievably skilled. But one thing, and this is something that even with Hermione, Hermione is book smart, but I don't think she would ever make something like this because I don't think she has the capacity. No, not that she doesn't have the capacity, but she doesn't have the desire to break rules that much. So she breaks them when absolutely necessary, but I don't think she would ever actually want to create something like this. And to be honest, Hermione's not the most thoroughly creative person. I think the Marauders were very, very creative. So that's why they were probably able to make something like this.
But Hermione kind of recommended them doing the whole polyjuice potion because
Yeah.
that was like a huge character growth that I noticed was she was actually willing to lie for Harry and Ron.
It's a great point.
So I don't know. I feel like I don't remember her ever becoming like super rule breaking, but I just feel like to say that she wouldn't do it is kind of like she would want to do it legally, and I think she has the drive to do it legally.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then it just kind of makes me wonder how many unregistered ones there are, because maybe it's not rare.
It might be a lot more than, yeah. If I did was an animagus, I might be an unregistered one.
What's the difference? Like, why would you not want to be registered? Or like, why would you want to be registered? Why do you need to be registered?
Because it's like a ministry oversight. It's like the ministry is watching not watching your every move, but they know who you are. So you can't, if you're trying to do something in secretively, you shouldn't register to be an animagus. So we'll talk about like another character who's an animagus later, who does it for completely secretive reasons and is an unregistered one. And the Marauders are the same. They don't want everyone knowing what they're doing. And if they're registered, they're not going to allow 4 students or 3 students to register as animagi. I don't think they would. There's
but
got to
then
be some
like you can't,
regulations.
can you undo their power and just be like, never mind, you're not actually allowed. So then they'll just be unregistered forever,
Yeah.
doing whatever they want to do.
Yeah, there you go.
This is not, there's a loophole here.
I think so. The ministry, they want registered animagus mainly because it's such a dangerous thing to actually do and perform, which is again why the Marauders are very skilled. I just think Snape is a little bit more skilled. So they want to keep an eye on people who are trying to transfigure or trying to become animagus because it's a really, really dangerous thing to do. And it could go really wrong. So I think that's the main reason. But again, which shows the skill of all these wizards. Even Wormtail, who most people crap on, he's like somewhat skilled in that he was able to become an animagus. Animagus.
Animagus.
Anything else in this chapter you want to talk about before we go on to the next?
Why is Sirius laughing when he like kills, air quotes, kills these people?
That's such a great question.
Because this keeps me up at night. I think about this. I go, what could possibly be going through his mind? Either I almost think it's like this moment of just like you got me, because he's seeing Pettigrew turn into a rat and he's just like watching Pettigrew shrink down in front of him and then seeing all these people die in front of him, and he just knows like this is the end, like I'm done, but at the same time is just like laughing because like nice move, you did it, that's cool. But I don't know, because I feel like it's written in so that you start doubting him and he's like super mean and evil.
Yeah.
But when you know he's not, I'm like, why is he laughing?
Dude, I know. Hold on one sec. I have to make more space on my computer real quick. And I'm going to answer that question because that's a really great question.
You have an actual answer?
No. When do I ever have an actual real answer?
Never.
Yeah, why he's laughing is one I don't fully understand. I think it's, to be honest, I sometimes I think of it as like a trauma response. Like sometimes when we're hit with traumatic moments, we just do things that are kind of irrational and just like don't do things that don't really make sense. And to me, that kind of seems like what he's doing here. Not that he like knows Wormtail bested him, but like his best friends just died. He realized another person that he trusted betrayed his best friends and framed him for the murder. So he's standing in the middle of the street and he can go on the run. That's probably the most logical thing to do, but he knows he's going to get caught. So he just stands there and like, his trauma response is laughter, which is a little weird. Again, I don't know why he laughs.
No, but I get that.
Yeah.
Like I laugh a lot at not okay times. Yeah. But I don't know, because I'm picturing Sirius and Pettigrew in front of each other, and then Pettigrew like shoot down into a rat. Like Sirius is watching that happen, right? Okay. Yep. Yeah.
And I guess he sees that and he's like, what else can he do but just laugh?
Yeah.
Or maybe,
but like in the face of death, like he instantly knows he's going to Azkaban.
Maybe it shows a little bit of bravery on his part too, where he's actually able to laugh it off. I don't think so. I don't think it's. I don't know. That response is really bizarre to me. Yeah, I think it's just some people laugh at inappropriate times in certain scenarios in their life. Some people in chat are saying laughing is something I would do. It's not weird at all. I totally laugh in inappropriate situations.
Me too. Literally today, someone was telling me that like he has to do his taxes, and I don't know why. I was so tired. I was looking him in the eyes, and I just started dying laughing. And he's like, I can't take it. It's just funny. Just delirious, Mm-hmm. Maybe Sirius didn't sleep for a long time.
Exactly. Maybe.
Oh yeah, duh, because his best friends just died. He's like super stressed out.
Yep.
Can't sleep. Gets the giggles.
Gets the case
Relatable.
Of the giggles. They die as he's another person transfiguring into a rat, and then he's like, "Oh, this is funny."
Rats are funny.
It's a weird one. I don't really know the answer for that one. I don't know if, and many people really know the answer for that one. It's a strange strange occurrence. Okay, let's go to the Firebolt, chapter 11.
Firebolt. So fun.
Great chapter. What happens in this one?
A firebolt magically appears for Harry, and then Hermione is like, you don't know who that came from. We need to check it out. And then it gets taken away from him for a really long time to like be.
Yeah. Okay, I don't have a ton of questions
proven.
for this chapter, but would you be like Hermione? Maybe my only one is, what would you do? Would you rat them out because this object's dangerous, or would you say, this is great, let's go ride it right now?
Honestly, I would probably rat it out just because he has died or almost died so many times in Quidditch in general. It just seems like a little weak point that people are attacking him at. So yeah, I would do it. I don't know why it took them so long though. Like, McGonagall should expedite this process.
Yeah, there needs to be a faster way to check brooms.
Yeah. I also literally have nothing written for this one.
Yeah, there's not a ton that happens other than the Firebolt. He gets a Firebolt and they get it checked out. That's really all that happens.
How much is a Firebolt in like human
let me look
money?
it up.
Because not even Malfoy has one. But Malfoy is probably not good enough for one.
Some people say, assuming the Firebolt is somewhere between 200 and 1,000 galleons, that would be somewhere between 1,200 to 6,000.
Well, that's a nice short like range.
Yeah, I know. That doesn't really tell us anything. I don't know how much it is, but it's a lot. The price on the tag just said price on request or something like that. When Harry was looking at Florian and Fortescue's, he was chilling, eating ice cream and looking at the Firebolt, which, that's a little wild.
That's kind of like a luxury vehicle though. Like, you walk in and it's not like the prices are there. You just get persuaded by the guy that you're probably getting a good deal.
The car salesman just like, yeah, it's great, you should get this. You're like, all right.
$100,000. The only thing I have annotated here is this quote from when McGonagall and Trelawney are talking, and then she's like, certainly I knew Minerva, she said quietly, but one does not parade the fact that one is all-knowing. I frequently act as though I'm not possessed of the inner eye, so as to not make others nervous.
Such humility. I love Trelawney.
So I don't know, maybe she is real, maybe she's not. I'm still confused because your argument is kind of convincing, but kind of not.
I'm gonna convince you as we go on through that. She's gonna give other predictions, and I'll be maybe I won't be very convincing. It's like a very niche theory that people have, but I think she's right. I think she's at least, again, she has the gift of seeing, but she just doesn't know how to interpret. I think the gift of interpretation is another like big one that she just doesn't necessarily have.
I think she is right and she has real predictions, but I think she makes up like 75% of them.
Probably, yeah.
And then that's why she's like doing this whole thing about pretending to not know. But like, maybe the real predictions only ever actually come like 5 times a year, and then like she has to keep up.
She's got to store them up.
Yeah, she's got to keep up this whole thing to be a teacher and like convince people.
I do think it's more about aura. So like, if I were in her shoes, I think there's a large portion of this that is like what your aura feels like. You're able to predict things based off of someone's aura, which is why the Neville thing kind of strikes me a little bit. I think she maybe perceives his aura a little bit, maybe perceives he's a little clumsy and says like, so she's making maybe some slight guesses, but again, I don't think it's necessarily that. I think she can actually see these things, and I think she's constantly seeing things in the future about like when she looks into a person's eyes or something like that, she sees the future of that person really briefly about like one thing that happens and is able to give a snap prediction on it. And because she's kind of a fool, because she wants to look cool, she gives immediate things of what's happening. She like sees Neville breaking the thing, and that's like she nails that. She's like, okay, be careful, don't break, or like, take the blue one rather than the pink one or whatever. But she sees Pavarti Patil being scorned by a redheaded man when it's really your sister being scorned by Ron, and she sees that and she's like, beware redheaded man.
That's still like not her, like, is her sister in that class though?
No, but her
So
sister
how
is
is she
probably
getting
by
that?
her. Her sister. So my take is like Parvati Patil is looking at her sister Padma being scorned by Ron, and again, Trelawney misinterprets the fact and thinks that's Parvati
Are they
because they're
looking
twin sisters.
in the globe at this time though? Because how else would that be possible?
I think she just looks into people's souls, their eyes.
But like
Maybe there's some
your
Horcrux stuff going
soul
on here.
is not gonna be where your sister's the main character. Like I
But
want
again, that's why she's bad at interpreting
you.
it. She's just bad at interpreting these things.
But-
she knows she sees what happens in the future, but she is bad at interpreting that.
No, this is such a contingency point though. Like I want to believe you, but that does not make sense to me. That does not compute that if you're looking at in someone's future, you're not seeing their sister. Like you look like your brothers, and I'm not gonna look in your life and be like,
but I'm not a twin with my brothers. And you know how many people mistake me and my brother?
Yeah.
Like how many people are doing that? Like,
but I'm not reading
I'm not even a literal twin.
I don't know. I'm trying to believe this.
I'll convince you more as we go on. There's a few more points that I'll convince you on. I'll have you convinced by the end of this book. Okay. I think there's hard predictions that she makes and there's soft predictions. Like when she gets possessed at the end of this book, that's a clear one that she's right on. But I think she's right on everything else. But she just doesn't know how to interpret these things. She doesn't take the time to sit on her own and like think of like legitimate interpretations for this.
She needs to reflect.
Yeah, she needs to reflect a little bit more. Exactly.
Okay.
All right. The next chapter is the Patronus chapter. So let's talk briefly about the Patronus, which is a great chapter. Tell me a summary of the Patronus.
This is when Lupin takes Harry under his wing to teach him about casting Patronuses to protect himself. And I don't think Harry successfully really does it yet. But they have a good conversation, and I really love Lupin in this.
Yes.
My summaries are very like all over the place.
The Patronus is one of my favorite little bits of magic that they ever do. I think it's lovely. I think it's great.
Yeah.
And you were listening to the season 1, so did you hear me talk about the movie difference between this and the books?
No.
It's a rare scene where I actually think the movie does it better. Very, very rare that the movie ever does it better.
Okay.
But in the books, do you remember what like Harry thinks through? I think he thinks through the first time he rode a broom, like the first time he saw Hogwarts, and then when he got his acceptance letter is when he's actually able to cast the shield Patronus, not the corporeal Patronus, but the shield Patronus.
Okay.
So that's what happens in the book. And Lupin is coaching him through it and teaching him the whole time. And it's kind of lovely. It's a great little bit of writing. It's exceptional. And then in the movies, they change it a slight little bit to the point where I think it actually deepens it a little bit in the books. And I think it's a better not a better adaptation. I think it's a better bit of writing in the movies and the books. Because Harry, he tries to cast a Patronus and he fails miserably. And Lupin goes, "Can I ask you what you were thinking about?" And Harry goes, "The first time I rode a broom." And Lupin looks at him, he goes, "That's not powerful enough. That's not nearly powerful enough." And then Harry goes, "Oh, okay, well, I have another memory, but I'm not really sure it's like real." Or he's like, he doesn't know how to explain it. And then Lupin goes, "Is it powerful?" And Harry goes, "Yes." And so when he releases the Boggart again, Harry's actually able to cast his Patronus and shield for him. And Lupin asks him later, he's like, "What were you thinking of?" Or he doesn't ask him. Harry just gushes and he goes, "I was thinking about my parents, my mom, my dad. They were just talking to me, just talking." He goes, "I don't even know if it's real, but it's the best I've got." And I love that so much because it's like, it's not just the superficial happiness of like riding a broom. I think it's like something deeper of you can fight back these dementors, which kind of represent like incoming dread and doom and anxiety and fear and ultimately depression. You can fight back with those with like reminding yourself of happy moments in your life, like deep happy moments of like the really great things that you have. And you can do it with little things too, obviously. But I love that so much. I think it's a really great change in the movies.
It's cool though that works, and then he's also like fighting the guilt of wanting to hear his parents.
I know.
Which is really sad.
It's such a good bit of writing.
I feel like he should think about looking in the mirror of whatever that's called.
Mirror of Erised?
Erised. Yeah, for the first time. That would be happy. He has like no happy memories.
I know.
Like every happy memory we know is from like Hogwarts.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Did I tell you this the last podcast? One of the only people who can't cast a corporeal Patronus in this book is Neville, because he doesn't have enough happy memories.
What? That is so tragic.
I know.
What is a corporeal
as an animal
Patronus
form? So like when your Patronus actually hits animal form. Harry right now is casting a shield Patronus, which is like it casts a barrier between you and the Dementor, but it's not as strong as a corporeal Patronus, which is the full-fledged Patronus, which is like an animal form. Yeah.
So Lupin on the train is doing
probably just a shield,
because it's literally just like
yeah, just a shield.
Okay. So wait, do you have to be like more masterful to be able to do the whole animal one, or is it just like whatever you decide in the moment?
You definitely have to be more masterful, but you have to have enough happy memories kind of stored up. I guess maybe not like a quota, but like the Neville thing is a weird one because I'm curious if there is like a level of happiness that you have to attain and have to achieve before you can actually be able to cast a Patronus. Like I think Neville, he's a really interesting character to me because I do think that he battles depression, like severe depression in the books. And it's a very under the radar thing with Neville. I don't think it's on top at all. And anytime you see Neville, if you look at him through the lens of just like another normal character, which to me, again, this is such good writing on her part, because when I'm walking throughout my normal life, it's not like the people with depression aren't just raising their hands being like, I have depression. You know, they're just able to function and like live in society. And I think Neville's the same thing. I think Neville has some serious depression with what has been going on in his life. And I don't think it's exhibited completely in the books, but you're given enough little context clues that you see that Neville actually does have some deep depression. The fact that he's not able to cast a full corporeal Patronus is like one of the biggest indications for me. But how Patronuses actually work with like maybe a quota of the person, like a person has to be able to experience happiness in a more full way, and maybe Neville just can't do that. Maybe he's just never done it before. I don't know. It's a really fascinating idea, and I just don't know.
Yeah, because when I think about like what I would use to cast my Patronus, I'm like, in some ways it's not entirely purely happy, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, does it count if it was like pure happiness in the moment, but now you think of it as like some sad memory? Like that doesn't seem very powerful, you know?
That's so good though.
Because like, don't you have those moments where you're like, I'm on top of the world?
Yeah,
and like
for
it's
sure.
the best, and then you look back on it and it's like bittersweet.
Yeah.
That's 100%. What I keep like I feel like there's so few things that I would actually use to like cast my Patronus, because like flippant happiness isn't cemented in my mind as like,
yes,
this is a great memory.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I'm 100% there with you. I actually think the like one of my favorite movies, Pixar movies, is Inside Out because of that reason. Have you seen that? It's like her happy memories are happy memories because they're such sad memories, because there's such sadness attached to it, and they're like more whole. So like she gets like, you know, one of her core memories is family, how her family always comes to support her. But she realized that fact because she lost a hockey game and was super depressed, and her family came over and supported her. And it was like, then she was happy after that. And it's like a more full form of happiness. And the reverse happens where you look back on a situation, you're like, oh, that really hurts to even like think about that. But I think there's something attached to it where those memories are more powerful, and like, they're not necessarily like flat out happiness. Because it's not like, you know, like I'll experience happiness in certain little small moments. Like I think have you seen the TikTok video with the people redoing the steps? It's like massively popular right now.
Oh, with the dog?
With the dog, with the plaque.
I feel like I saw that last night.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like I'm like that. Like a dying dog is the most depressing thing ever. But sometimes I think about it and it fills me with such joy for like having Wes in my life right now. And it's so sad, but it's like, it's even the same thing with like some Marvel movies. Like they talk about what is grief if not love, enduring and persevering or whatever it is. And I love that idea. That's why I love, a lot of sad things, because it makes me feel super strong emotions for things that I actually truly love in this world. And I think the same is kind of true for a Patronus. I think, which I actually don't know if it's the same for a Patronus. It might be more like a superficial thing, because Neville should kind of have that. Then again, we'll get into Neville's background a little bit.
Imagine you're like trying to cast a Patronus and it just turns into a Dementor. Like, shoot!
Dang it!
Neville just creating the Dementors by accident.
That's a great one. That would hurt.
I have to look out for that when I read now and try and see Neville.
I know.
Like in that light.
I definitely read him through a lens of he has pretty deep and lingering depression throughout the entirety of these books.
I definitely thought he had like anxiety or social anxiety.
Yeah.
Because he's like on edge all the time. And I just imagine that being like boarding school being just the worst nightmare.
Yep.
Because even if you get comfortable with people, you're still always in a new environment or a new like, there's a new class coming in and you just have like, there's no place for him to just settle down except maybe like the dormitory where there's 5 of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, like poor Neville.
I know.
He never gets a break.
I know. Like,
and then the teachers are bullying him.
I know, exactly. So he just kind of keeps spiraling down. There's a moment in the 7th book, which is not much of a spoiler, but we just kind of hit this in season 1, where Harry is looking at his parents' grave, and he has a moment where he looks down at them and says he wished to join them in the snowy and like the cold depths in the dirt below or something like that. Like he wished he was there lying with them or something like that. And it's so tragic. And again, I think Neville is somewhat the same. I think he has this lingering feeling like he gets bullied, like these bad things happen to him, and he just wants to be with his parents. Like I think he fights that the entirety of the book. And there's moments when he feels included. There's moments when he's doing excellent in certain things. Again, this is why Neville is one of my favorite characters. He's got such depth to him. But I love him so much. I just think he struggles a lot, but he's great. He's so good. Anything else in this chapter? We talked about the Dementor kiss and what a Dementor actually is.
Oh, a Dementor is like a lamprey.
Yeah.
Do you know what those are?
The little...
Or like a hagfish.
Yeah.
Those are also my least favorite animals.
Lamprey?
I cannot... Oh, those like send me off the edge. I can't.
How often have you seen a lamprey?
I watched my fair share of ocean documentaries and they always make their way in and I always am like screaming looking at them. If you look up a hagfish, it makes me want to like scrape my eyeballs out with a knife.
Oh gosh.
It's so bad. And the same thing I think about tapeworms does that for me.
Yeah, tapeworms are gross.
But anyways, they're basically like a hagfish, I'm imagining, in a big cloak with a hand.
I never want... Yeah, dang, that's a great...
Right?
Imagination for that. I never want to go in the sea again.
Well, you'll be safe in the shallows.
Thanks.
They're eating like whale fall down.
Oh, that's disgusting.
But yeah, the Dementors, I feel like this is before we had our Dementor debate. This is where like all of the good information was hiding. But now I feel like we've said our piece.
I know, we've settled the debate. You've fully convinced me that Dementors are morally neutral creatures.
Good. I'm glad.
I was thinking about that. I like went to bed and I was like, could I have come up with any other counter arguments? And I was like, no, I was just thinking wrong and you just corrected me. So I appreciate it.
Yeah.
We'll definitely progress the Dementor discussion as we go on, and we'll progress the Patronus discussion as we go on as well. But we'll keep it at that for now.
My only other note on this chapter was that that Lupin found the Bogart. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Is that actually how you say it?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Bogart, yeah.
Okay. That he found it in Filch's filing cabinet. And the only other time we've heard about Filch's filing cabinet is for the Marauders map. And I wondered if Lupin happened to see anything that was in there or just knew that like...
Wait, did they find it in Filch's filing cabinet? Yes, are you positive about that?
I can find my little note here, but I think so. Because I don't like. Why would I bring that up now if I wasn't?
That would blow my mind if that's the case. I want to come up with all sorts of theories on that right now.
It's in the beginning, right, where he's like doing it with Harry.
I'm trying to
Because
look
he's
for it.
saying they like to inhabit the dark places,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh, I found this one in Filch's cabinet. I'm gonna find it."
Oh man, that's right. I'm thinking of the other one that they had in the class. This was probably a different one.
Here we go. Another Bogart, said Lupin, stripping off his cloak. Okay.
All right. Whoa.
Oh gosh. I've been combing the castle ever since Tuesday, and very luckily I found this one lurking inside Mr. Filch's filing cabinet. It's the nearest we'll get to a
No
real Dementor. The Bogart will
way.
turn into a Dementor when he sees you, and we'll be able to practice on him. So I was like, the one specific cabinet that we're
Yeah.
mentioning twice is his filing cabinet. He could have multiple, but I'm just saying, for Mr. Mooney to be in the cabinet, or maybe the same cabinet that his Marauder's map is in, then he comes across the Marauder's map later. Like, I feel like it would be pretty known if Filch confiscated it as when they were students, that they'd be like, okay, like it's in this thing that says
Yeah.
whatever, like dark, mysterious objects. I forget
Yeah.
what it's labeled. Things that Filch doesn't understand. But isn't that crazy? Don't like you want to believe that he saw the map in
That
there.
is, yeah, that is such a good catch.
Yeah.
I want to ask, you come up with such good questions. Stuff that I've literally never seen and thought of before.
Good.
So I'm going to throw this out
I'm
on our
so
Discord.
happy.
I'm going to throw this out on our Reddit and our Discord, asking people to come up with theories based on this. Dang.
Because he's snooping around Filch's office.
I know, yeah.
Free reign, because he's a teacher.
I wonder if he was like looking for the Marauder's map.
Like intentionally.
Yeah. And he just kind of happened to come across a Bogart, so he like bottled that thing up and was like, okay.
It felt to me though, when was it Snape or was it Filch who had the map, and then they brought in Lupin to investigate? It felt to me like he had a moment of like, oh,
Yeah.
this is the map.
Yeah.
So I feel like he didn't find it before, but he could have been looking for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if he knows he's going to be in and out, I mean, he doesn't know that it's his first and final year at Hogwarts, but maybe he wants it. Maybe he wanted to, I don't know. It's a good little,
dang, that's
like souvenir, the good old days.
I know, seriously, he's trying to, yeah. Because maybe he wants it to find Sirius or something like that. Because he definitely knows where this map still exists. So I'm sure he looked into the room requirement. Dude, this is such a good point, Lizzie. Holy smokes.
Every time you say that, I'm like, yay, like I'm winning.
I know.
Like,
You're
I
winning
have
this
good
podcast
thoughts.
right now.
I can think good thoughts.
Because you definitely know he searched through things, because they lost this map. They didn't have this map at one point.
Yeah.
So he's back at Hogwarts, and he's probably looking through the Shrieking Shack, probably the room requirement, looking for some stuff. And then he's like, maybe Filch nicked it from a student who had it. That's the last place I'll look. And then he just happened to come across a Bogart there. Dude, that's such a good little mention, Lizzie.
People literally visit their old schools and they're like, this is where we ate lunch every day. And it's like stuff that's not exciting. But imagine if you had like some amazing artifact that you needed to find again. Of course you're snooping around.
That's so good. That is so good. Well done. I can't wait to read the rest of these books with you. You find such good stuff. This is great.
Good.
All right, let's do the last chapter really quickly, because let's wrap this one up.
Okay.
There's not a ton that happens in this one, but this is Gryffindor versus Ravenclaw.
My only note is McGonagall being mean to Neville, crying face.
Yeah.
What is she? Which abysmally is this? That chapter?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was like so sad. Which person, she said, her voice shaking, which abysmally foolish person wrote down this week's passwords and left them lying around? I will punch McGonagall right now.
Yes. That annoys me so much. That hurts
Yeah.
me.
I'm like legitimately angry, legitimately sad reading that. Because Neville, I know, is in shambles hearing that.
He's already in shambles knowing that Sirius got in. Like, you don't have to add insult to injury here.
Imagine being called abysmally foolish.
Mhm.
Like, that's a whole nother level.
From McGonagall, too. From someone who you, like, love and respect.
Yeah.
And this is Neville's whole journey, too, because I think he comes to a point where he knows that he's not really liked and he has to, like, come into his own. And then he starts getting really liked, which is actually a little tragic that he has to, like, change himself a little bit in order to be, like, truly liked and appreciated and well regarded. But
yeah.
he definitely grows in confidence, which is great. But I hate that line as well when McGonagall says that. McGonagall is, some people really love McGonagall. She's not one of my favorite characters. I don't like mind how stern she is. She definitely has like some great lines in this. She definitely shines a lot more in like book 5. Book 5, she's exceptional. She's great. But this one, she's just sometimes a little mean.
Yeah. And even like in the first bit of this chapter, Neville's locked out and she just bans him from Hogsmeade. Like, she's just mad at him and just rips that away from him.
Yeah, seriously.
So it like starts and ends with Neville and McGonagall's beef.
Yeah. And Lana even says, to be fair, he left them in the dorm, not out of the dorm. So like, if he left them in the dorm.
Because Sirius took them when... Wait, is that actually Sirius holding the knife?
Yeah.
That is Sirius?
Yep.
Okay.
Coming to kill Peter.
So when did he get... Oh, Crookshanks gave him the thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's no way of explaining your way out of that.
Yeah.
The cat ate my homework. The cat took my passwords.
One of my favorite memes, or not memes, but just like ideas, is that who owned the Marauders map before Harry? The twins.
Yeah.
If the twins are looking at this map in Harry's first or second year, and they just see Ron sleeping with Peter Pettigrew.
Oh my god.
That's why there's a meme out there that I shared on Instagram the other day. That was like, it's Willem Dafoe. And he has this thing where he's like, I gotta find this again. Because this makes me laugh so
Did they like
hard.
never look close enough?
I guess they just never look close enough.
Oh my gosh.
This is maybe my favorite Harry Potter meme of all time.
Oh yeah, I love this. Is that, wait, that's why you posted that?
The first comment on that is probably what they thought when they saw a man named Peter Pettigrew sleeping next to Ron at night.
Oh, that is gold.
It is one of my favorite things of all time. I crack up every time I see that. It's so good.
They just let it go. They're like, well, he's doing what he wants to
know.
do up there.
Go, Ron. You do what you want to do.
They would have known that name though.
So it's funny when they see him dating like another person later on in the books, a girl, they're probably like, oh, we thought you were gay the whole time. Go, Ron.
That's so crazy. Yeah, you could learn so much about people. Like, they're probably just watching Percy.
I know.
Yeah, you could just learn everything.
Yep, they're watching Percy and Penelope Clearwater.
Yeah, Penelope.
Doing lots of stuff.
Well, they're not watching.
Yeah.
They see their little things go around. Yeah, I don't know how this looks in the movie at all. Like, I have a weird picture of it, but
it's a cool thing in the movies. We'll get there.
Can you actually see what the people are doing? Or are they like little...
They're like little name tags with footprints walking everywhere.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It's cool. It's like actually a pretty good depiction. It's like good CGI.
Is it like 3D so you can see the levels of the castle?
No.
Oh, how does that work?
It's like different layers of the parchment. So like he flaps open this one layer of parchment. It's like the next level.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I didn't even think about it like that. Have you ever got locked out of anything since Neville got locked out of his portrait hole.
All the time.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but I definitely have. You seem like you have a story attached to that.
Oh, I mean, I got locked out of my house when I was a kid, and my aunt dropped me off. It was dark at night, and it was raining, and I was like never home alone ever. So I got locked out, and I was like, I saw my aunt pulling away, and I was like, no. So then I was like, okay, don't freak out. So I started looking around for like a hidden key, and I found a hidden key under like something by the door.
Let's go.
And I let myself in, and then like we had a house phone. Like I didn't have a cell phone.
Yeah.
And then I was like crying on the phone with my mom. And I was like, Mom, where are you? I'm home alone. Everything's dark and it's raining. And I was like, at this point, I'm like still scared of thunderstorms.
Yeah.
And it's like thunderstorming and I'm home alone. And she's like in a different state, but like a few hours away. And I was like, oh my gosh. So she calls my aunt, and my aunt comes, and then I go hang out at my aunt's house, and it was crazy. But that was like actually kind of traumatizing.
Yeah.
Like it really does not
Traumatic experience.
sound that bad, but like I don't know how old I was, but that's not fun.
Being locked out of something like that is miserable.
Yeah.
I hate that. It's happened to me with a car before. We've had to like fish the keys out in the seat or something like that. Definitely got locked out of my my house before. Got locked out of my dorm when I was in college. We had to sneak our way back in. That was fun. Nothing like crazy.
I locked myself out of like every hotel room I've ever been in.
Yeah.
Like I just cannot remember for the life of me. That's not fun either.
Yeah.
I've never actually locked myself out of my car where I don't have my spare key. Like
Really?
Yeah.
So you're smart though. You like keep your spare key in another spot.
Yeah.
I like my spare key in my car. One time I got locked in my car, and after that I was like, this was probably a dumb thing to do.
Yeah. Not the ideal place. But yeah, that was my only story. I mean, I got lost in a grocery store. That was like the same vein, I feel like.
Grocery stores were so huge when you were a kid.
I know.
You walk into them, you're like, this place is the biggest place I've ever seen in my life.
You're like 2 shelves tall,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
All right. Well, who is your favorite character in these 5 chapters and your favorite moment?
I think Lupin's probably my favorite because he comes to the rescue.
Yeah.
And my favorite moment. I don't know. This is so hard. Which chapter do we start with?
Grim Defeat. Very Quidditch-centric chapters.
Yeah. Oh, probably the Marauders map is my favorite.
Yeah.
Like, I solemnly swear.
Yeah, I'm up to no
Mischief
good.
managed.
Yeah, it
That's
is really
probably
great.
my favorite. Yeah.
I know.
I love that.
I think Lupin's my favorite too. He's probably my favorite in these 5. He just has great moments. And all the other characters, like Hermione's a little annoying. Harry's kind of dumb. Ron's kind of dumb. McGonagall's mean.
Yeah.
So Lupin's the best in this one.
Yeah.
And then my
I
favorite
agree.
moment is Gryffindor beating Ravenclaw. I love the Quidditch moments. So
It's a good one.
want to sign us off?
What do I say? Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry
Okay.
Potter and the First Time
Wait, I
Readers.
have to say well. Well, thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the Second Time Readers.
Peace.
See ya.
Perfect.